Season 2, Episode 2 starts off with Rick carrying Carl, who has just been shot, down to Herschel's house, and Shane and Otis are following him, and Otis, like, definitely cannot keep up, and Shane's like, go, 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 like, pushing him, and so they're trying to get to Herschel's. He's like, it's half a mile that way.
Ask for Herschel.
Yeah.
And so then, let's see, then they get there. Herschel asks, is he bit? You know, he asks if Carl's bit, which is, like, interesting that that's his first priority, because, I mean, as we'll find out, he considers, I mean, he and his whole family consider walkers to just be people which are infected with the disease, but, considers them to be, like, fully human.
Well, they think that like, they can reverse it and they'll be back to being human, so, like, killing them is essentially killing a person.
Yeah.
So if they think that, like, why is his top priority, is he bit?
Yeah. And so, yeah, that's a little bit strange. And then, let's see. So then they get him in. Herschel asks what Carl's blood type is.
Rick says it's the same as mine.
Mm-hmm. And then so he's like, stay close. We might need you, or we will need you.
Yeah.
And so that, and then, like, later Herschel's trying to get the bullet fragments, the first one out of Carl.
Right.
And so then, like, Carl's, like, screaming and flailing around, and Rick, being the genius that he is,
screams at Herschel.
He's like, stop, you're killing him. And it's like, okay, wow. I mean, I get that would be difficult to watch, but, I mean, like, Rick should have some idea that pulling bullet fragments out of somebody while they're like, awake is going to be really on a child. That's going to be really painful, and, like, of course the kid is gonna, like, scream and flail around. Like, no, don't stop,
right.
Like, no, like, he's not killing him. He's obviously trying to save him. I mean, that's the best chance, the only chance he has.
So honestly, like, not a whole lot happens in this episode.
This is not a very eventful episode. In terms of consequence,
Maggie goes to find Lori, and she, like, rides in on a horse and kills...
I think that's actually the next episode.
Is it?
No, actually, you're right. It is episode 2. Yeah.
Like, rides in on a horse and, like, kills a walker that's trying to get Andrea with a baseball bat, and she's like, "Are you Lori? Rick sent me. Carl needs you."
That's a pretty good impression of
Thank
her
you.
voice. Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome.
And Daryl's like, "Don't go with her. We don't know who she is."
Yeah.
But, like, Lori's like, "Duh, it's my kid. I'm going." And so she goes, and she's all crying, and her and Rick are all, like, lovey-dovey, like, consoling each other. And
Shane has also been consoling the hell out of Rick in this episode. He's he's been
right.
just, like,
when
keeping him, like, together.
When, like, Rick walks out of the house, like, just, like, after he put down Carl when he first got there, and he walks out of the house, he, like, Rick wipes blood on his face. Yeah. And, like, Shane pulls out a rag and, like, like, gingerly, like, wipes it off. And he's like, "You got some blood, bud." Like, he's, like, really, like, tender and sweet with him. Like, kind of uncomfortable how, like, tender and sweet he is.
Yeah,
but I mean,
like,
I guess his best friend's son just got shot.
But it's, like, considering how, like, antagonistic they get, it's like he's, like, very, very, like, taking really good care of Rick during this. Yeah. And so then, so Herschel basically says, I got the first fragment out.
But it's the shallowest.
Yeah, but and considering exactly. Considering that, like, how much Carl was thrashing around and screaming, he might die if, like, I keep trying to get the others out with the equipment I have.
Right.
So like, I need proper equipment, I guess, for humans, because, I mean, he must have equipment for animals.
I would assume so.
This must be adequate. I mean, I guess it's not, like, maybe that's, like, finer surgery than maybe, like, maybe you wouldn't need as precise of tools just treating common ailments of like horses and cattle, I guess, like versus getting the fragments out. But so he's like, I need like proper tools, or else like I don't think I can do this. And so then Otis is saying,
let's go to the high school.
Yeah, was he saying like, was it like a FEMA?
I think so.
Or,
yeah,
it was something like there was some
like,
reason that there was like medical supplies.
Right, it wasn't just like a normal high school class.
Right.
Like, yeah.
But I think he said like it was a FEMA camp or something like that. And so so he's like, they might have like supplies and equipment there. Shane's like, I'll go. Rick wants to go, but obviously like he's weak, and Herschel's like, I need more of your blood.
Stay here. Yeah. So Shane's going, and Otis decides to volunteer to go too. He's like, it's my fault. Like, he got hurt.
I know. It's not... I mean, yeah. It's not really his fault. It's Carl's fault. I mean, like, I'm sorry. Like...
Way to blame the victim. Like...
Yeah, it's his fault. I don't care. It's his fault. He deserves it. I mean, like, let's be honest. Like... Well, okay. I do think it's his fault. But really, I mean, I'm just saying it's not Otis's fault. Like... Right. Because it's like... He was just hunting the deer. Like, it's not like his fault.
He intentionally went out there like to shoot a human.
Like, that's why people in the woods, that's why hunters wear really bright orange vests. I mean, like, because you don't necessarily see everyone like in the woods. Right. It's not necessarily that easy to like make sure that you're not going to hit somebody. Okay. I want to say I find it really, really irresponsible. I mean, I understand why they let Otis go with Shane to get the supplies, but that was terrible. I mean, they should not have, because he was like having such a hard time. He was totally unable to keep up with Rick and Shane when they were carrying Carl to the farm. Yeah. Like, and that didn't seem like it was so far. I mean, I'm sure it was like maybe like half a mile or something.
And they weren't like running from anything. Yeah. Like, they're running to something, but like they're not like running for their lives.
Like a really hard time.
Yeah.
And it's like he's really out of shape. And I mean, what exactly are they thinking? Like, because, I mean, I think he said, like, oh, yeah, it's the school's full of walkers. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, well, okay, you're probably going to have to, like, run away from them at some point. And it's like, okay, so...
You can't keep up. This is not a good idea. Like, we're not trying to be mean.
Yeah. But... If anything, like, he might make it harder. Because, I mean, okay, maybe, I guess there's no one else they could really send with Shane at this point. I mean, I don't think Glenn... or anybody is
no
at
one's
the farm.
There yet,
like, is Lori there? I can't remember.
Lori is there.
Okay, so like Lori, but I guess that's it. I guess.
I mean, maybe they could have sent Maggie.
Yeah, I mean, that probably would have been better. Like, she doesn't have experience, but she would be in better shape than Otis, and like more. Yeah, it'd probably be a better idea.
Yeah, I mean, it probably would be, except Maggie is just as much with Herschel about like they're humans, don't save them. We don't know that yet, but maybe she wouldn't be any good there.
True. I guess that also raises like, so I guess, okay, because later like Otis is the one who's been collecting. I mean, I think Herschel too, but like, or like
Otis has been primarily the one collecting.
Yeah, like the one leashing the walkers like on those dog catcher poles and like bringing them back to the barn.
Yeah.
And so like, so I guess actually, like, because then at the school he has absolutely no problem gunning them down, like, and did he? I guess gun some of them? Did he I think so. I think so. I don't specifically. I mean, I know they both fired their weapons a lot.
Right.
Like, so I'm pretty sure that he did kill some of the walkers, and so that kind of makes me wonder if like he doesn't care personally, and like it's just because he's Herschel's slave,
He's
like,
not Herschel's slave.
Oh, okay. They keep saying your man Otis. Okay. And he's like,
they do say your man
Otis. And like Herschel's like, Otis has been taking care of this farm since before I met my wife, like my Maggie's stepmother, or maybe Maggie's mother. I don't remember. It was like one of those. So like, and they never say what his job is. I mean, okay, servant. I mean, okay, I think servant is 100. No, servant. I mean, I mean, okay, but then why don't they ever bother giving him a title? Like, I'm just saying.
I mean, they probably did, but during an apocalypse, your title doesn't matter.
But Herschel doesn't view it as an apocalypse. He views it as, like, the coronavirus.
Oh my God.
What?
Okay,
he does.
Okay,
he views it as just, like, this temporary thing that's like, oh, whatever, it's just a plague, Come look at this cheesy-looking green screen with me, Rick.
So Otis and Shane head off to the high school, and in the other part of the world where Dale and T-Dog are still on the highway.
Yeah, this is when, like, T-Dog starts getting blood poisoning and going kind of crazy.
He thinks that everyone's out to get him.
He's like, he gets really paranoid, and he's like, we should just take off, Dale.
Yeah.
Like, we're not safe, like, and then Dale's like, wait, are you going crazy? And
right.
then,
before,
he's like, we need to get you antibiotics. Oh.
Right, well, before that, because Dale had told them that one of the hoses on the RV needed to be replaced, and so it couldn't move, and he's just, like, sitting on top of the RV, and T-Dog's like, shouldn't you be working on that hose? And he's like, I fixed it yesterday, but it's, like, better for the group to stay here to look for Sophia, and if they knew, they would want to keep going. And so this is before, like, they know that Carl's shot or anything like that. And this is just, like, him thinking he has, like, this old man wisdom. And imposing it on everyone.
Big part of the reason I really, really hate Dale is that, he thinks that he knows what's best for everyone.
At all times.
And that he has the right to control everyone.
Right.
And just, he thinks because he's old and thinks he's so wise and thinks that, it's just like, it's his right to just, just manipulate everybody. What were you going to say?
Like with Andrea, he, like, wouldn't let her kill herself, guilted her into, like, running out of the CDC, and then takes away her gun, and he's like, you can't have this. I don't trust you. I was hoping you would just show a little appreciation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he's very, like, not only does he think it's his right to control everybody, but he actually kind of thinks that everyone should be grateful. Yeah, and, like, everyone should be, like, really appreciative about it. Like, not just let him control them.
Right.
But he also kind of expects, like, an inappropriate level of, like, everybody loving him for it, Yeah, no, he's really objectionable, I find him. I know the show clearly, like, wants us to love him, I think, anyway. I think that was more the intention, that he's, like, he is this wise old man
that,
who has all the answers.
Care of everyone, and he's the father figure.
And it's like, really, it gets much worse later, like, I think, anyway, so...
So then episode 3, it's like there's a lot of, like, flashing back because
it, like, opens with essentially the end of the episode, before the credits,
And so at the beginning / what ends up being the end of the episode is Shane, thank you, is in the bathroom shaving his head, looking in the mirror, going kind of crazy.
Being really dramatic.
Right, right. And he has the water for the shower running. And I think he even, like, doesn't he, like, wipe off the mirror? So obviously it's hot.
It's been going for, you're right. And it's been going for a while. Yeah.
And he's using the electricity from, like, there's lights on, and he's using a razor, like... Wait. We've been in an apocalypse for, I think this is probably about 4
or 5 weeks,
now.
I think, And
so, like, we should probably be conserving our water and our electricity.
I don't think they address it, but, like, so they must have a generator at the farm.
And it must be, like, house. A good generator.
Yeah, and it's, like, they just don't really, like, address it because, so, like, how much fuel do they have? And like, are they getting more fuel or, I'll go ahead.
We know later that they have at least one well.
I think they say maybe, like, 3, but
do they?
Okay. But they have, like, multiple wells around the property.
Yeah. And so Shane is shaving his head because... and we'll go back and see, like, how this happened, but there's, like, a chunk of hair that's missing that got pulled out when he was at the high school, and like, his hair was long. He could have just, like, brushed it to where that wouldn't have been noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
By shaving it...
Because now everyone can just see it.
Yeah, it makes it more noticeable.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, he could have just kind of pushed his hair, like, over that spot, and it probably wouldn't have been that noticeable. I agree.
So, everyone is... Well, is it everyone? Is Dale and T-Dog at the farm now? Because, like Daryl and Andrea and Glenn, and I think Carol are all at the farm now.
I think...
Or did Carol...
I think Carol and Dale and Daryl
okay.
Are still at the RV. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think, is it Glenn? I think Glenn and T-Dog go to the farm.
Because T-Dog's getting help with his arm.
Yeah.
And Glenn meets Maggie.
Yeah, and he's like, ooh.
Let me play this guitar for you.
He's like, hello. He gets really into her.
He doesn't actually know how to play the guitar. So that was just kind of a bust. Like,
he's like, I'm hopeful that the gesture is enough.
Right.
Like, this doing anything for you? Just me holding the guitar?
Right. Okay, so then it flashes back to, like, Shane's, like, remembering what happened at the school with him and Otis, and they, like, throw flares to distract them, and then they get into what is most obviously the gym.
Yeah.
Like, there's, like, bleachers. Like, obviously it's a gym. There's no doubt about that. And I really like that when Shane and Otis are at the school, they are constantly talking about, like, how much ammo they have left.
Yes.
It's just, like, it's really realistic. They're like, oh, I got this much left, or, like, oh, how much do you have? And they're, like, reloading, and they're like, getting the supplies, but they're, like, also being super cognizant about how much they have left, and, like, how many walkers they can shoot, and how much they have, like, need to get out, which later on, it just kind of goes to the wayside, like...
Yeah, it's later on, it's just sort of...
We have unlimited ammo.
Yeah, like, they just don't really talk about it, it's just, like, they have just, like, an ambiguous amount of ammo on their person, and just as a group, just, like, their supply is pretty nebulous, it's never really discussed, at least, like, very infrequently, unless it's, like, a plot point. But yeah, it's nice earlier on. I feel like they're a bit more aware of that, and it's like, it makes it makes it seem more like
realistic.
A survival situation where, you can't just have them fire as much as convenient.
Right.
And just basically kind of ignore like their supply situation, I guess. Yeah, I agree. So, okay. Basically, so then they're like, Carl's getting worse, his blood pressure is getting low, and Herschel's like, well, he's gonna die if we don't do the surgery right now. Like, Shane and Otis aren't back, but we can't wait. So then they're, like, getting ready to do the surgery, get the rest of the fragments out of Carl. And then Shane pulls up in the truck.
Right.
And they go out, and he's like, they're like, what happened to Otis? And he's like, he didn't make it.
He just, like, shakes his head.
He, like, feel like this is when he starts doing, like, his, like, kind of crazy, like facial tics and
crazy eyes.
And, like, pauses and, like, crazy eyes.
Shifty,
and, like, just looks around a lot and, like, basically acts really crazy.
He does, yeah.
And so, like, and then Herschel... he basically says, don't tell Patricia, Otis's wife, who's like been like his nurse during this.
Right.
I mean, whether she's his slave also, I guess we never find out.
But, so we did talk about that. We think that Patricia and Herschel are potentially...
They might be. You're right. They might be,
sibling in-laws. Like,
she looks almost exactly like Beth, Herschel's daughter.
Right. So we're wondering if that's like Beth's
I mean,
aunt.
there's gotta be some, like, and maybe that's why Otis worked there.
Because it's his brother?
Yeah, like, maybe that's, I mean, I don't think they ever say,
I don't think so either.
But, like, I feel like that someone had to have been like, like, Patricia and Beth look like they're, like, mother and daughter. Like,
right.
Like, I feel like someone must have been aware of that. And so Herschel is... he's like, don't tell Patricia that Otis is dead until after the surgery because I need her.
Mm-hmm.
Which I find pretty disgusting because, I mean, okay, like, Carl's a stranger. I mean, sure, you want to save him, but...
And sure, it's a child.
Yeah, but, like, Patricia's your family.
Right. Whether
it's
she's
not
your
like
actual...
she's gonna, like, break... I mean, probably not. I don't know. Someone else could. I mean...
Maggie seems to be pretty...
You're right. Maggie probably
in
knows that stuff, too.
Yeah, like,
I mean...
If Patricia was
that's a good
grieving
point.
and, like, couldn't help with the surgery,
Yeah.
Maggie probably could step in.
Yeah. Anyway, I find that kind of selfish of Herschel to just, like, not tell her until it's convenient that her husband's dead.
Right.
And, yeah,
So, I think it's after that, you can correct me if I'm wrong, after that it, like, flashes back to why Otis isn't with them anymore?
I think,
yes,
I mean, you're right, but, like, let's see, first... I think then it, like... I think it shows Dale and... Oh, because it's, like... because, like... I think Daryl and Andrea were off in the woods looking for Sophia. Mm-hmm. And they, like, found the walker who had, like, hanged himself and then had his legs chewed off.
Right.
And, like, they were kind of talking about stuff. And so then they, like... Then they end up coming back and...
To the highway.
Yeah, back to the RV and the highway, and then Dale is like, I didn't have any right to take your gun, Andrea. Here it is. I just hope you can forgive me, because I'm a sweet old man, you know. And so then, like, and she's just like, okay, you know, and... Okay. All right. I think he's like, please don't make me regret this or something,
right,
you know.
Right.
And then she's like, okay, and then kind of walks away, and then he's like, well, can't you at least try to forgive me? And, like, you know, is basically all, like, needy and manipulative, like, as
he's
is
super
his, you know, his character.
Yeah.
And she's just like, I'm trying, I think, and then and so then you're right. Then it's like, then we get back to the point that was shown in the beginning when Shane is like going crazy and like shaving his head.
Right. But like, I don't remember when in the episode, but didn't it show us in this episode how Otis died?
Yes, because then it goes to him. It goes to Shane shaving his head and staring in the mirror. And then he's remembering what happened. Okay. And so then it's like him and Otis are like running away from the walkers with all the stuff they got, and Shane is like, you go on ahead, Otis. I'll sacrifice myself. You go on ahead, and Otis is like, no, bro, I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna get you out of here. And then, like, they run for a while, and they're, like, pretty much out of ammunition.
And we know that Otis isn't very good at running also.
Mm-hmm, yeah. And so then Shane decides.
That'd be a plot twist. Dale just shows up in the RV.
And runs over Otis. For no reason. And then gets Shane. So then Shane decides to shoot Otis in the leg, to, like, you know, let the walkers eat him so that he can get away with the equipment. But like, Otis, like, grabs a hold of his hair after he shoots him and is like, you know, either kind of like wrestling and like, because I can't remember if Shane is like, has to like pull the supplies off of Otis. Or if Otis just, like, was close enough to, like, grab onto him.
I think he was just close enough.
Okay. And so then he's, like... And I think Otis has Rick's gun, like his Colt Python. Mm-hmm. And so then, like, I think Shane, like, grabs that from him. And so then the walkers get Otis, and Shane gets away with all the supplies. But, like, Otis pulled out some of his hair, as we talked about.
So it just kind of brings all of it back to, like, him being all shifty-eyed and crazy in the mirror.
Yeah.
And we also noticed, so far, Beth has not been, like, introduced. Yeah. No one has said, like, oh, this is my other daughter, Beth.
She's
like,
just kind of been there.
She's just been there. And, like, she's been in the background. Shots. Yeah. She hasn't said anything. And I wonder, like... Maybe this is totally wrong, but I'm wondering if they intentionally, like, didn't have her talk or anything so that people would think that she's Patricia's and Otis's daughter.
That's an interesting idea. I don't know.
She's just kind of there, but doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I mean,
because she does look a lot like Patricia.
She does. She's very, very similar. Mm-hmm. So let's see. I think not that it's like in the comics. I'm just thinking because, like, obviously Herschel, there's Maggie. And then I think, like, I don't think there was, like, a Beth type character. Like, I don't think there was, like, an analog to that character on the TV series. In the comics, it was, like, if I'm remembering correctly, Herschel had, like, 3 young daughters? Or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Like Maggie, and then he had, like, 3 young daughters.
Interesting.
I think that's what... It was something along those lines,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe it was just 2, but... Yeah, I don't think that... So, I mean, that's maybe, like... Maybe they were like, hey, let's make her Herschel's daughter. I mean, that's certainly possible.
Interesting.
Yeah.